to Dine with the Divine. I'm your host, Ashley, and together we're going to be exploring the magical, the mystical, and everything in between. On today's episode, we're going to talk about your new favorite winter holiday and an herbalist. Yay! I hope everyone's having a great week, and if not, I hope it gets better soon. Today, we have an absolutely fabulous guest coming to us across the pond. We love an international guest. We have Sophie from the podcast Ramblings of a Grey Witch. Sophie, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon here. So how early is it for you?
It's 9. It's 9 a.m. here.
Oh my gosh. It was better than me. Because no, that just wouldn't happen.
Whenever I have to do, so I've had a few people who have been like international and I have to wake up a little early. I get anxiety the night before. I'm not going to wake up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible with waking up in the morning. I sleep through all my alarms. It's a running joke between me and my husband because you are unconscious. And because he's trying to wake me up, I end up sleep talking to him. I am just, I am in another realm. I'm just not there anymore. Yeah, waking up is not my strong suit.
Same. I know. I can have, my fiance will say, I'll be like asleep and I can have a perfectly totally normal conversation with him. I'll wake up and not remember the conversation we had at all.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? When you think about it, we just go unconscious for 8 or more hours and that's just normal.
Oh my God, I was thinking this exact thought the other day. I was like, can you imagine if you met like an alien and you were explaining like sleep to them? And they're like, so what do you guys do? We're like, oh, we just we have a special room where we go in and we just go unconscious for however long you can. Usually they recommend 8 hours that you're just unconscious. They'd be like, you have a whole room to just be unconscious for 8 hours? Yep.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do.
And we have a special kind of, I don't even know how you would describe it to an alien. We have a special kind of surface. It's usually different people like it different. It might be like a little soft and hard. Special surfaces that we buy. They're very expensive.
They are expensive, aren't they? What's that about? Why are they so expensive?
Why is it like $1,000? Like the last time I bought a mattress was years ago when I moved into my house, and it was like a cheap mattress. It was a king size mattress. It was like at least more than $1,000, and I'm like, why?
eBay shops. We got a whole king size bed with a mattress for just a couple of hundred. I think we paid about $300 for all of it, which is such a bargain. I don't know why beds are so expensive. I really don't.
I don't know either. And then you have to have a frame for your bed, and you have to have pillows.
And then you have to put stuff on it, and that's expensive. Like,
it's so stupid. Why am I going to the store and I'm like, I go to you guys? I don't know if you guys have Target, but it's like Asda, but like upgraded.
Yeah, I really want Target. It looks so great.
Target's great. Yeah. I also want
exactly. Five Below.
Yes.
Right? Barnes and Noble. These are all the things that I've heard of that we're sure we have some sort of equivalent, but I just want to come to the States to shop in these places.
Oh my God. But like, I feel like the UK and I feel like a lot of people in the US, like we fantasize and make the UK this thing that like, but you guys, I feel like you have like more independent bookstores than we probably do. Yeah. Here we have Barnes and Noble. It's great, but
we have, I think what the equivalent to Barnes and Noble would be in the UK would be Waterstones. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, no.
That's the big book chain.
Okay.
But I like to shop in a place called The Works because it is a bookshop, but they also do arts and crafts and they do some toys for kids. But everything's discounted. So Waterstones would sell at the author's price, whereas The Works, you'll pick up books for £3 or £4 or dollars, of course, for you. So yeah, I absolutely love The Works.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It's amazing for spiritual books.
Oh, I wish we had. I don't think we have it. We might have it in another state, but not in my state.
Sure.
But
where are you, if you don't mind me asking? I might.
No, it's fine. I'm in New Jersey, so I'm on the East Coast. I live like an hour from New York City.
Yeah,
like an hour south and an hour east from Philadelphia.
Don't worry.
And 3 hours north of Washington, D.C.
See where it all happens?
I'm in the middle, baby. say I'm not.
That's like me. I'm Birmingham, literally in the Midlands. Perfectly in the middle of England.
I love it. I love it. I like Birmingham. I'm trying to think who's from Birmingham that I...
Oh, yeah, you said that you might have some family in there.
Oh, my uncle lives in Birmingham. That's who lives there. My uncle.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a small world.
It is. All right. I know. I love it. Okay. Now that we've talked about books and bedding and where everybody lives. I love it. I love a good rant. Sorry, guys.
We should start a thing. Write in and tell us how much you paid for your bed.
Please. We would love to know how much your bed sheets cost. I know the last time I bought bed sheets, I think they were on sale and it was still like $40. Yeah. And I was like, this is not that big of a sale, but I guess I'm buying these because all the rest of my bed sheets were messed up. Yeah. So it's fine.
Actually, on this topic, there is something I want to say, but then we will get onto the witchy stuff, I promise.
That's fine.
Right. Is it true that in the States, for your covers, you quilt, duvet, I don't know what you guys call it, but yours is all one piece and the whole lot goes in the wash? Is that right? Because we have a duvet... And then we buy covers for it and we wash the covers.
Oh.
So that's even more expensive.
No, ours is all one piece.
Yeah. See, we don't have that. We've got even more components to the bed. More components.
Because you're British and they want to be fancy. They're like, we've got to make this more... Yeah, we got to make this more complicated so it looks more fancy.
It's a nightmare. It is. Yeah.
I love that. I don't even... Okay, this is so embarrassing, but I barely understand what a duvet is. I just know, like, we have, like...
What do you call it? A quilt?
No, there are duvets. I just don't know the difference. I don't know if it's a different thing, because people will talk about their duvet cover, and I don't know what they mean. Okay. I just have a quilt on my bed.
So do you guys use pillowcases?
Oh, yeah.
So a duvet is like the insert of a pillow. Like so yeah, this is my understanding anyway. So it's it's a quilt that you then put a cover on, like you would put a case on a pillow. The duvet is the insert. I think that's how. I'm 28, and that's what I've always.
You're probably right. I'm just like, I just don't know. I'm just like, I feel like I just always had a quilt, and because people use duvets and say the word here all the time. I just never understand what's going on when people say it, but
you just got to nod and
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know all about that.
That's why, 100%. I just lie and I'm like, yeah, my duvet cover, yeah, I wash it every month or whatever. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Oh God, I just don't want to be embarrassed. Sophie, I always ask people, like, how did you get started on your spiritual witchy journey?
Brilliant question. So for me, what I refer to, I use the phrase committed witch. Okay. So hopefully you'll see what I mean in a minute. So when I now look back over my life, I've always had my witchy ways, but I only started referring to myself as a witch and this is what I call being a committed witch, as in, yes, I'm a witch. It doesn't have to mean that you practice all the time, as I'm sure you agree. Like, we don't have... Life is busy. We don't all have time to do our rituals religiously every month. Some people do, and absolutely hats off to you. But for me, as I think it started for a lot of people, about 3 years ago, it was around lockdown, we were in a pretty desperate financial situation. And I was at a point where... Because this is another thing. Previously to that, if ever I was in a heightened state of emotion, or if I was ever in a situation where I felt like there were no physical options, I'd start researching spiritual things. So this same sort of thing happened to me about 3 years ago, where we were in a difficult financial situation, and one of those situations where you feel like, I don't have any options here, like there's no way out. And as I said, whenever I'm in that sort of state, or this is prior to this moment 3 years ago, I would look up spiritual remedies. So I started doing that. And I don't want to go too much into detail about exactly what I did or what happened, because obviously it's very personal, but it's mostly because it's not just me I'm talking about. I then end up talking about family. So I'm just going to redact that slightly. But
no problem.
In short, it worked. But prior to that, I've had my tarot deck since I was 15 years old. I've always been into analysing dreams and interpreting dreams for readings and that sort of thing. It's about 3 years ago, I started doing some basic money spells, and then I came across a debt banishing spell, and I've never looked back. And that was when that's when I say I became a committed witch. But it's like I say, now that I'm 3 years in and I'm a lot more experienced, that my podcast title being Ramblings of a Grey Witch. If you want labels, I would be a grey chaos witch, because I will practice any magic that feels right for me. So it could be light or dark. It could be from various cultures. It could be anything. And if it resonates with me, I will practice it. Obviously, always with respect. So that's how I got to where I am now, really. I used to have a crystal shop as well, which I don't anymore. And now I've always said it feels like I can sense this crowd of people that are cheering for me, that I'm finally on this path. It's like they've been waiting for me my whole life to commit. Hence the term committed witch. So that's it, really, in summary. I've got to admit, I am always a little bit, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but a bit ashamed that it had to be money spells that really catapulted me on. But it's more the fact that I was in desperation and I sought spiritual help and I got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's, okay, first of all, that's wonderful. Every part of your story is good. And then also... Yeah, but also, I think I talked about this the other day, too, about how some people, I've heard people who will be like, oh, I only go to my altar, or I only call on my ancestors when I'm like doing a ritual or this and that. And I was saying, I call on my ancestors when I'm in a desperate situation. Like, obviously, I try to talk to them and honor them above that. No, not only when I'm upset, but it started for me to, like, when I was young and I was really like, going through something, or I was really upset, I would just talk to God out loud. That was like what I did, because I was upset. And it used to, like, I would have different experiences. I remember very vividly, I had an experience of like really just crying really bad of whatever was going on. Was very I was so upset. And I remember like being covered in warmth all of a sudden, and I know out of nowhere, I didn't know what happened. So things like that. And then like now, speaking of the pandemic, I was, same when it came to financial, other stuff too. Like, I was going panic attacks. Like, I was going through it. Like, I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, I don't, like, work situations were all messed up. Like, I worked throughout the pandemic, but there's other people in my family who couldn't work. And I was just like, what are we all gonna do? And I was waking up in the middle of the night. Literally, some of my hair fell out. It was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible. Beyond being also just, I didn't want anyone in my family to get sick. I don't want anyone of my friends to get sick. And
of course,
you're already nervous about that. So like, you know how many times I went to my altar and was just like, tell me what to do, because I'm help.
Do anything, just
anything. I don't even care what you guys do at this point.
I just can't.
I can't deal with this. I'm just a human. Please. Like, I need assistance. I think that is, and people, I think there's people, and especially in major religions, monotheistic religions, I think people will judge others for saying, oh, you only call on your creator or whatever when you get...
This is my pet peeve.
Yeah, so what? Yeah.
Right.
So what? If you... I'm ready for the rant. Yeah.
So
it's okay. If that's what brings you there, that's what brings you there. So yes, go ahead.
Absolutely. So, right, this is my... we've got pretty deep pretty quick, but let's go there.
I know.
Right. So... I had a Catholic upbringing. I had a Catholic education, and my parents weren't devout in terms of church every Sunday. That I did all my Catholic sacraments. We would always go to church on Christmas and Easter, and I went to church regularly through school because it was a religious school. So I have a very strong understanding of what Catholicism is. And this is another thing that makes me look back and realise that I've always been a very spiritual person, but the path I'd been exposed to wasn't for me. Yeah. So with no disrespect to anybody listening, I try and be respectful of everybody's religions and beliefs, but I am just going to share my experience and opinion on the Christian God, shall we say, and Catholicism, because there is such a guilt complex that is instilled in everybody. So, like you've just said, you asked for help. How dare you? What?
Yeah.
What? Hang on, you're supposed to love me, right? Is that what? Have I got this right? Excuse me? You know? What did I do? Do I go to confession for asking for help? Oh, shit. You know. You see my point?
Yes. Yeah. Don't get me started on confession. I have such a problem. I went to Catholic church when I was a kid, and I also felt very spiritual, but I always say Catholicism is just Christian magic, but the way sometimes, right? Okay, right. Thank you. And,
I recently went to, go on, sorry, I won't interrupt, go on.
No,
I'll tell
you. No, you tell me and then I'll go. Don't worry, go.
Just because you said about how Catholicism is witchcraft, I went to a Catholic funeral at the start of this year, and they are cleansing the coffin with frankincense, smoke, and they're lighting their candles, they're anointing their candles, they're reciting chants. And I'm like, this all seems very familiar. You know? Yeah. Hypocrites.
I'm saying.
Sorry.
No, you're right. No, it's so true. So when I was like younger and I was like I loved magic and all this spiritual stuff. Yeah. Then I got to a point where I was like, okay, maybe I should just go to church. Like maybe that I went to church as a kid, then I stopped going because I was going with my dad. Then I stopped going for a while, and then I started again because I was like, maybe I should just get into this. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Then afterwards, I was like, actually, no. Then the problem is, and I would say the problem is with humans. It's not really the religion that is the problem, honestly. No. It's people.
This is another thing. This is another issue I have with the Catholic teachings. That when you look at the Bible and when you try and take it back to its core, it's not what is now taught. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You know, this isn't an actual quote or anything at all, I don't think, but one of my all-time favourite films is Stigmata.
I love Stigmata.
Do you?
Yeah, it's good.
Not many people I speak to actually know the film, so that's amazing. Yeah. But the quote in it, because obviously it's about finding the lost gospel of Jesus, the quote in it that they use, I'm sure they've just made it up for the film, but for me it resonated. Split a rock and I am there, lift a piece of wood and you will find me, or the other way around. But it's basically saying that the holiness, the spiritualism, the spirit is within and without you. It's around you everywhere. It's not in a building that some industry has made but it's not at 9 a.m. every Sunday morning. It's like the divine is there for us all the time to tap into, and I feel like they're like gatekeeping, very much so.
100%, that's how I feel. And that reminds me of, and I cannot remember what it's called, but my friend who is Catholic, she was telling me she started doing this like daily devotional thing where she would it talks about how God is everywhere. And I was like, yes, this is what I've been talking about. And she was just saying how it's really changed her. But also what you said, the minute I started getting very weary because like I said, when I was a teenager, I was going to church and stuff. But I remember it actually happened in school. We had my history teacher, I think I was in like 11th grade or something. No, I was like in 10th grade. So I was like 15. And I remember we learned, we had to read excerpts. Actually, my teachers were pretty good. We read excerpts from every major religious books. And we were reading and
that's incredible.
Yeah. It was really interesting. We're reading and analyzing it and talking about cultural context and what was going on for those people at that time. So we talked about Catholicism, and we were talking about the Middle Ages and how they would take indulgences from people. And if anybody doesn't know what indulgences are, it was like, okay, so the Sistine Chapel and how beautiful it is and how there's paintings on the ceiling. So what happened was the Catholic Church was like, damn, we'd really like to build this beautiful place. And they didn't have any money. So what they would do, now this is during the Middle Ages, aka the Dark Ages, when nobody had any money. They would go around to people, to different towns, villages, these people, regular ass people who were super religious at the time, because a lot of them couldn't even read, right? Mm-hmm. So they would go around, priests, vicars, monks, and say, hey, did you know that there's this place called Purgatory, and your loved ones are going to be stuck there because they weren't really great, but they weren't really bad people. So in order for you to help them get out of purgatory, you have to, your loved ones who are dead, by the way, your dead loved ones are stuck in this place. You know, those people who raised you, who you loved, they're stuck in limbo for eternity, unless you give us some money. Now, number one, purgatory is nowhere in the Bible. There's nowhere in the Bible that talks about this.
Really? I didn't know that.
It's not in the Bible anywhere. And they also just made it up to get money from people in the Middle Ages when nobody had any money and people couldn't read. I was like, this is
sounds
so
a lot
up.
like abuse, doesn't it?
Yeah. On a continental scale, like they were literally just going throughout Europe doing this to people.
Again, the guilt complex, the blackmail, that if you don't do this, you'll be doomed for all eternity. And they had no choice but to believe it, because, like you say, they weren't educated enough to think otherwise. Oh,
yeah. These people were just exactly. They were just regular ass people, farmers, bakers, blacksmiths who lived in the town
and earned an honest living.
Yeah, just doing their regular ass jobs, trying to take care of their families and shit. And then you go and tell them, like, oh, your mom who raised you, who you loved, and she was amazing, and you just miss her so much. She's actually stuck in this terrible place, and she can't go to heaven. Meanwhile, everybody now is super religious. So they're like, oh my God, we have to scrounge up all this money to get mom out of limbo. Come on.
Oh my life.
Just so they could pay somebody to paint the Sistine Chapel?
Right, this is the other thing. Oh my life. So I don't know if you if you know of this, but in the UK, no, I can't say that. Hold on.
That's okay.
I might need you to cut this. Basically, the two most common forms of Christianity, debatably, this is debatable, but for me, growing up, it was Catholicism or the Church of England. Now, you can. In the UK, you can tell by driving, if you know what to look for, you can tell by driving past what church is what, because a Catholic church will be embezzled and you'll go inside and it's really gold candle stands. Everything's colourful, there's jewels, there's gold, because their theory is this is the home of God. It needs to be fit for a king. Church of England, however, no, Jesus was a humble carpenter. We don't need all this embellishment. As you're driving around the UK, you'll pass churches very frequently, especially if you're in the countryside. And a Church of England church will look very grey, very simple brick building. A Catholic church, however, they'll have really brightly coloured stained glass windows. You can really tell the difference when you go inside as well, because a Church of England church is very simple, and their reasoning is Jesus was humble. We should give anything we have to the poor, as he taught. Now, growing up Catholic and learning that, I was like, hang on, they're right. What? And I'm here. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Guys, I think we're wrong. Yeah.
I'm wrong too. Fuck. But, there is just so much to do with it that I disagree with. I say recently, he'll be one very soon, but it still feels recent to me that we had our first little boy. And we looked into getting him baptised because although obviously I'm a witch, Alex is an atheist, it's family tradition for us, really.
Yeah.
But the fact that the concept of baptism is the belief that all newborn babies are born with original sin and need to be cleansed. what the fuck is that about?
I know.
This tiny, little, innocent, helpless, brand new, fresh energy. And you're like, sin.
I know. Like, the kid can't walk, can't talk. They can just open their eyes and cry. What did they do? Yeah.
Exactly. And obviously I knew all of this because of my Catholic education, and I did try and forewarn Alex of this. But we went to what they call a baptismal meeting, which is that if you want a Catholic baptism, you have to go to a meeting at a parish where they talk to you about what it entails. And Alex just looked at me 15 minutes in and he went, "We're not doing this, shall we leave?" Okay.
Like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we tried. But it's crazy, isn't it, really? I can't remember why I went off on that tangent. I do apologise.
Okay.
But...
No, it's all good. I love a good church tangent. And again, just like Sophie said, we're not here to shit on anybody. We're talking facts.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're just talking facts and we're just talking about what we think. So, yeah, of course.
I'm talking from experience. It's not like I've just read all this on social media. This has been my life.
Yes.
And I really do not mean any disrespect to anybody and their beliefs.
Of course.
And also, just to highlight, I am talking about the extremes.
Yeah.
You do have the middle ground, the grey area, which is why, again, coming back to grey witch.
Grey witch. And I say it all the time.
Balance.
Exactly. I say it all the time because I have people in my family who are religious Christian. I have friends who are religious Jewish people or religious Muslims or people I know. It's never a problem. And all the people I know, it's not a problem for them because it gives them comfort. It's something that's positive in their life. So
and that's wholesome.
That's literally what you do and what I do too. It's the things we believe, it's because it gives us comfort. It's because it helps us. It's because it makes our lives better. For those people, that's great. Like,
and that's their version of it. Exactly. If something makes you feel good and encourages you to do good, what the hell is wrong with that?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. That's never the issue. It's when it's used to oppress or upset other people, or or this is you can't. And I always say it's the rules. It's the rules that people made because if we got our friends Muhammad and Jesus and Moses down here, they would be very confused probably about what we were doing.
That's what I said, guys.
Yeah, they would all be like,
"This is not it.
This is not what we said. We did not say any of these things. You guys are And I said this to you. I was talking about something. I was talking about Islam. I was like, Islam at the time when the books were written, super progressive. And I actually had to read the Quran in one of my classes. I had to read a lot of religious books throughout my life. I had to read parts of the Quran. Very progressive. Yeah, they talk about women's rights and how if you want to divorce your husband, first of all, you can. That's your option if you want to. Number one. Number two. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, they're like, it's fine. And then they're also like, oh, especially if he's beating you, if he's being mean to you, that's okay. And especially if he's being mean to you, I think it's just divorce. Every woman gets 25% of their husband's stuff. That was the rule. So that she's not like destitute. And I was like, at the time, people were like, what? Like, this is crazy. Like,
get me married.
So it's just the people who come, and again, it's only the extremists, not normal people. If you normal people are like, yeah, this is completely reasonable. But it's the 1% of these different faiths who decide that we were going to take this to the most extreme point. And then it falls apart.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
absolutely,
that's our religious rant.
I hate to say it as well, just to finish. Well,
no, of course.
A lot of it comes when people realize they can profit from it, or has come when people, as you were saying, if they could. Unfortunately, there were the most evil people in time who thought, okay, people are believing this, people are devoting their lives to this. How can we monetize?
Exactly.
You know.
It's just like that's how cults start too. People are like, I have a giant ego and I would like some money.
And some attention while you're at it.
Some attention. What do I do? And that's cult to cult. I'm going to make these people work all day and never sleep and tell them that they have to give up all their money. Great. I've figured it out. So,
as soon as we mentioned religion, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to say.
This podcast is about rambling, so it's totally fine. Just as your podcast. Exactly. I was like, we're getting along. This is great.
Yes.
So
we knew this would be, though.
Yeah, we discussed this, so it's not a problem. Even though we and Sophie are both hot because in our respective countries it is warm.
Warm for September. Someone write a letter, please.
Somebody talk to the big man because I'm confused, please. So even though it's September, we're recording this, it's probably going to come out very close to Christmas time, Yule. Cool. Yeah, so we're going to pretend so we feel better that it's cold in here. It's so cold.
About that.
Exactly.
I've got my oranges and my cinnamon and my holly. Yeah.
We're ready. We're going to do our dish of the week. So for our dish of the week, we're going to talk about Yule foods, like things people like to do during Yule and holiday time.
I love Yule. Yule is, I think, do you know, again, sorry, being a grey witch, and chaos. It sounds really bad, but it's like you pick and choose what you resonate with. Okay. So Mabon, Samhain, and Yule are my big 3 Sabbats. I love them. Yule in particular. Just saying.
Yes, we love a Yule.
And I love foods. Tell me about it. I want to hear
it. That's fine. Also, there's something very to me, I don't know if romantic is the word, about the longest night of the year. I don't know. Something I really like about that. It's just neat.
It's homely, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I get sick of it really a week later because I'm like, where's the sun? It's only one day I get happy.
Yeah, I am quite happy when, with 6 hours daylight. I am. Mm-hmm. I'm terrible. I should go and live in somewhere, I don't know, where's cold? I don't
know. You can go to one. Or you could go to one of these places near the Arctic Circle where they get 3 months of darkness or whatever.
Take.
I'm always nervous for those people. I'm like, are you guys all right? But they seem to be fine.
Do you want a lamp?
Are you scared? Okay. So some of the foods I got this from actually the website of a different podcast, Otherworldly Oracle. And they have some Yule recipes, which I like here. So we got ham. That's a traditional one. And they talk about, for the Norse ancestors, they were really big into doing ham because they would sacrifice a giant boar during Yule and then sacrifice it to the god Freyr. Yes. Is it Freya? That's not Freya. I don't know. Norse spelling is confusing. It might be Freya.
It is.
Yes. No, it's a god, so it's probably Freyr. Okay, don't worry. It's Freyr. Yeah. They would sacrifice a giant boar. So and then eat it. Yeah, sometimes they sacrifice foods and it's okay to eat it after. Sometimes they don't. It depends on the culture. But for them, they ate it. That's why we're eating ham. We love a ham. And then we have wassail. Yes, a traditional Yule recipe. So wassail is, tradition comes from the British Isles. It's a hot cider drink. It's good. I've had it. I like it.
I haven't, but I've also quit drinking now.
Oh, okay. I'm sure there's a virgin one that we can make.
Yeah, I did look into this actually last Yule because another podcast that I listen to, I think is a really popular one, Comfy Cozy Witch. Don't know if you're familiar with her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so wassail, she spoke about wassail and I was like, I really want to do it. But I think the core ingredient is cider.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Oh, man. I'm like, can we use apple cider? Maybe. We're going to figure it out. For our non-drinking witches, that's no problem. Yeah, because everybody deserves to like it. I could use I maybe could do a hot cider, or maybe could just do instead a spiced cranberry juice and just call it wassail.
I love that idea.
Yeah. I feel like you could do cranberry juice, cinnon, and whatever else we're putting in there.
I think orange is a key ingredient. But
yeah,
orange.
Do you know
what? I'll let you tell.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, it is. And I'm sure you could make it without any liquor. Then we have, this is called Ciopino, which is Italian seafood soup. And they put a bunch of different seafoods in it. Mussels, clams, oysters, calamari, fish. So if you are allergic to seafood, sorry, I don't think you can drink this one. But that's okay. We have others. It's not cheap because it's all seafood. And so this is why people would make it during the winter holidays, because it was the celebration time. So they're like, we're going to spend all our money on this. Yeah, because all that stuff is expensive. Then you have surf and turf steak and crab. That sounds delicious. So people buy this for Christmas sometimes and Yule.
Yeah, surf and turf is quite popular in the UK. If you go to any pub, as we have, you'll get a surf. If under their grill menu, you'll get a surf and turf option of some kind.
Okay. I think I've only had like surf and turf one time. I went to someone's birthday. I was like, I'm gonna be fancy, and I got steak and crab.
I don't eat seafood at all.
Okay, so you're not.
I really don't like it.
You're just doing the turf. That's okay. I know it's like it's a very. I think I like seafood, and I like calamari. I like octopus. A lot of people are like, this is gross, and I get it. It's a very unique texture. Yeah,
I don't know what it is. But it's a broad thing for me, and if it comes from the sea, I'm not interested.
That's okay.
We
I get
can
it.
Be friends. Fish are friends, not food.
No problem. You're just friends, and that's fine. It's not a problem. Eggnog. A lot of people like eggnog. You can get it alcoholic or non-alcoholic, so everybody can drink it. I don't really like it. I think eggnog's a very American thing. I don't like eggnog, really. I do, though. I think it's coquito, which is like Puerto Rican. And if you're Hispanic, I'm sorry if it's not only Puerto Rican. It's just the Puerto Ricans I know make coquito. So it's like eggnog, but the Puerto Rican version. It's got a little bit more spices in it and stuff. It's very good. Eggnog is a little more plain. And then you got Yule log recipe, where this is not really a recipe. You literally can use a real log for this. And you just
candles in it.
Yeah, candles in it and decorate it. Be careful, because it's a log. And you're lighting it on fire. So just be very careful.
Oh, yeah. I know, right? Who thought of that? Who said that would be a good idea?
So you know what somebody said the other day, and I don't know if it was on the podcast or somebody just told me this, but apparently Martin Luther, he was the one who figured out who made Christmas trees, because he saw Christmas tree lights. He saw the stars coming through a tree. And I guess he was like, wow, this is beautiful. We should do this in our houses, and we should put candles on them. And it was like, bro, that is nice, but why would you put candles in a tree? I don't know. Yeah. That's a bad idea.
And they didn't have, like, when this first started, they would not have had fire extinguishers.
No. They would have panic, and they would have to go get water from the river. Because it was like the year 1600, and everyone was like, oh my God, the town's on fire.
Just a funny story about, it's not a story, I'm shit at telling stories and jokes, so just bear with me. But yeah, something that I read, it's all year round, people with dogs tell their dogs they can't bring their sticks in the house, and at Christmas we bring a whole fucking tree. The dog's just like, bro, really? What's this? Are you serious?
Oh, the poor dog this is how you're really going to act right now. Okay, I see you guys.
Same thing with spiders and cobwebs. We spend all year getting rid of the webs. And then on Halloween, we're like, all the webs.
We go so far to buy fake webs to put in our house. It's crazy. So then we have rum cake, which is a very Caribbean thing too. People love rum cake, especially in Jamaica. I like rum cake. Not my favorite cake, but it's good. We have sun wheel bread, which is a traditional Yule recipe. This is a northern European thing where they make a special type of bread. They add caraway seeds and some other stuff. Again, all these recipes will be in the show notes. A hot toddy, hot chocolate drinks. And then we have fire roasted tomato bisque, which is Sophie's not drinking because there's crab in it. We have all our recipes there. Again, I'm going to put it on the show notes so you guys can figure it out.
Did I hear that right? Crab in a drink?
Oh, no, sorry, not a drink. That one's a soup.
Oh, I was going to say, oh my life, what are these people doing? Stop it.
Yeah, that's just nasty. We're not doing that.
Thank you.
Never.
I'll pass.
I'll do our plug, then we'll move to our next section.
Okay.
If you really like the show, you can keep following it. You can keep listening to it. It comes out every Thursday. It's free. Also, I'm Dine with the Divine on Instagram and Facebook. And if you really like the show, I would always love and appreciate if you guys give us a rating or a review. We love it. Do that on wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also give me a little tip if you want, a couple dollars, throw it my way if you like. Dollars, pounds, euros, wherever you live, yen. I take francs. I take rubles, whatever. And if you have any suggestions or questions or comments, you want to tell us how much your betting costs, email me at Dine with
I want to know as well.
Me too. I'm gonna have a section. Yes, we're gonna have a section.
And I want to know if yours is a one piece or an insert and a cover. Okay.
Please, we need these questions answered. Please. So email me at dinewiththedivinepod@gmail.com so I can answer your questions. And we can tell Sophie about our different bettings. I've been very excited to talk about this. We're going to talk about, so this is our tea time where we talk about different subjects and we learn something. And today's tea time is about one of my favorite holidays that I learned about a couple years ago. It's called Saturnalia. Have you ever heard of Saturnalia?
No.
Okay, girl, we're in for a ride.
Okay.
Saturnalia is so fun. Yes. Okay. So Saturnalia, or I also refer to it as like a carnival celebration on steroids. It is, even though it's not a carnival, I'll explain. Okay, so you guys remember the Romans, right? How they were like wild as shit. So they had the god, they would celebrate the god Saturn for Saturday, and he was the equivalent to Kronos in Greek mythology. So Kronos, I think, was like Zeus's dad, right? Didn't he try to eat Zeus? Or he ate everybody else and didn't eat. Yeah.
I have my Greek mythology book.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm currently doing a bit on Hecate.
Okay.
So, yeah. Do you want me to check for you?
Yeah. While we're talking, please check because I'm telling the wrong thing. I feel like Kronos is the one who ate everybody, and then he didn't. And then the mom hid Zeus somewhere on an island, and then Zeus came with a C, C-R-O. Maybe it's with a K sometimes. I'm not sure.
Keep going.
That's right. Okay. So anyway, Sophie's fact checking us. So Kronos is a Greek equivalent. So anyway, Saturn is a god of agriculture. So obviously all these communities and different cultures have celebrations around agriculture because that's what keeps everybody alive. The god of agriculture is a really big deal. So originally, no problem. So originally we have Saturnalia was the like harvest, almost like an agricultural festival, and it was one day. But then it got so wild that people were letting it go 7 days. Sometimes it would be 2 weeks. So it was celebrated on winter solstice because, okay, think of this. The god of agriculture, right? Winter solstice is the longest night. So after that, the sun starts coming out again, meaning that the god of agriculture is like, oh, don't worry. Later on, you'll be able to plant stuff. So they're like,
yeah, I'm back, guys. I'm on my way. Right?
Exactly. So everyone's like, hooray, thank God we're going to survive. So they would go to the temple of Saturn and they would basically party for days. Again, like I told you, it was going to be one day, then it turned to 7 days. But a lot of historians say that it depended on the ruler. Because sometimes the ruler was like, okay, maybe it's 1 day, sometimes it's 7. They said one ruler sometimes would be like, this is too long. We need to get shit done in the kingdom. You guys can't be doing this.
We need to work. Okay.
Yeah, no, we can't be doing this.
Jesus.
Exactly. So, but Nero, you guys remember Nero. He's the one who they say was playing the violin or playing his harp, one of those interests in a string instrument, while Rome was burning down. And they think that he may have burned Rome just for inspiration. Nero was a mess. We're going to have an episode one day about Nero because, he was crazy.
I love that the whole city's burning down and he's just like, diddly.
This is great. And I'm like, Nero? It actually wasn't. And tons of people died. It was terrible.
It reminds me of at the end of the Titanic where the,
yes.
Whatever. Why have I forgotten? It's not an orchestra because it's only
it's like a quartet or like a chamber or like a small group. Yes.
And they just start playing.
Yeah, because they're like, we're going to die anyway. We might as well just play. I know. Crazy. Oh, no. Not the Titanic.
I don't.
So terrible. Saturn, when Saturn reigns, so this is his holiday, nobody would work and everyone was just eating. Okay, so let's talk about. Woo! That's what I'm saying. It was wild. No, let's do it. It was wild out here. People were singing. So the first day, let's break it down. The first day, people go to the temple and they would sacrifice a lamb. And then there would be a lot of food and a huge feast for everybody. Everyone's eating. Woohoo! This is great. Then the second day, people would have like their private parties in their house, and they would also keep eating. Gambling was allowed at this point because beyond this holiday, you weren't allowed to gamble. So people were gambling. There was trivia. I love that. They had trivia, guys. They're having trivia night.
Did they have a cheesy intro as well and some guy in a suit with a mic?
Oh, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it because they did. So they did. So I'm going to tell you. So they had also, no, you're good. You're good. That wasn't me telling you to be quiet at all. I'm sorry.
No, but I should.
No, this is the whole point of the podcast. Is if you don't say anything, then it's just me talking. Nobody wants to hear that for hours. Please, interrupt me constantly. I love it. It's fine. Then they even had bobbing for apples in cold water outside. This is what they were doing. Okay. Probably good for your skin. Tighten it up. Every night. Oh, again, with the food. Every night there was a feast. Oh, and one of the fun things, there's so many fun things about Saturnalia, was there was role reversal in every home. So in the houses, you have the people who are living there, and they usually had slaves, unfortunately. They would switch roles, and there were special hats they got to wear to switch roles. Yeah. This is crazy, right? The masters would serve the slaves, and the slaves would get to be the masters during Saturnalia. The masters had to do anything the slaves wanted them to do, basically. But in the end, what usually happened was the masters and the slaves would just all end up hanging out together. And everybody during Saturnalia was very equal. It was like, there's no levels here.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was just for everyone to hang out.
How could they do that and have such a nice time and then be like, oh shit, it's over now, and then switch?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if they just like, hopefully, I really don't know. Actually, I really have no idea, but they did, apparently. They would have, the slaves would wear, their hats would be called a freedom cap, which is cute. They probably were also like, could we just be free? But no, only during Saturnalia. It's terrible.
That's almost cruel, isn't it?
It's mean.
Want it, can't have it.
I know. Now that I think about it, it's mean. It was old-timey times, and it was terrible. That's how they did it. So during this time, also, there was no school, no banking, no business. That's why some of the rulers were like, you guys, we can't.
We're killing the economy. We're having a great time, but we're going to suffer if you don't stop.
We have to get back to business. And literally everyone was forced to have fun. You had to participate, and we'll talk about that in a second too.
No, because Alex, my husband, he always says that I like mandatory fun. I am somebody that's going to be like, at 7 o'clock we're going to play this game, and at 8 o'clock we're going to do this game, and then we're going to eat, and it's going to be great. Oh my God. And yeah, all my family and friends are like, oh God, can you not just let people relax? No. We're going to have fun.
We are going to enjoy ourselves together as a family and friends. Damn it.
Get out.
Stop it. I'm doing this because I love you. They would also give each other gag gifts. So they think that this actually may have been one of the origins of Boxing Day. Because, they were like, they were going to give each other little gifts. And because the slaves were able to do it too, they would give each other little gifts. And it was fun. Everybody loved it.
When I was little, I used to think Boxing Day was called Boxing Day because of all the boxes left over from Christmas Day.
That actually makes perfect sense. Like, I thought Boxing Day was about boxing, like actual fighting. Yeah, I was like, so everybody has to do boxing on boxing. That's what I just assumed. But it's all had to do with...
A lot of families do, but I don't think it's fun.
Yeah, no, I think they're just doing because they don't like each other. Yeah.
24 hours is enough. I'll see you next year.
And no, you're like, we already had the meal. Now I'm ready to go home. I don't want to talk to anybody. They gave each other gadgets. Well, I don't know what kind of gadgets back then, but they gave each other gadgets, small statues.
Probably fidget spinners.
Probably, yeah, like ancient fidget spinners. Could you imagine if they unearthed that at dig site? They're like, what is this? And they're like, it's aliens. An ancient fidget spinner. Because people had ADHD back then. So they needed the fidget spinners. They had small statues, so many gifts. Then, of course, because it's Roman, there was tons of wine and tons of orgies. Because it wouldn't be Roman history without orgy.
They all wanted a piece of the pie.
Exactly. So then talking about, like you mentioned, like the corny guy who does the intro for trivia, the corny person, in each home, there was a Saturnalicus Principalis, and this was the master of ceremonies of the Saturnalia celebration in that house. Yes. So that person was the leader, and their job was literally to cause chaos and just do shenanigans all day. So, like,
sign me up.
Exactly. I'm like, shenanigans. That's my whole day. I love shenanigans. I know. So the job as the master of Saturnalia, or the leader of Saturnalia, was to chase people around. Okay. And then
imagine being on the other end of that. They're like, mate, fuck off. Have a drink.
Oh, God.
Like,
can I tell you something? One of my least favorite games as a child was Duck Goose, because I don't like being chased. I'm not fast. And like, I was never a fast girl. And I don't want to be chased, and I'm stressed. And the whole time I'm like, I don't want to be playing this game. I remember being 5 years old, and they're like, let's play Duck Goose. I was like, damn it. I'm like, I hate this stupid game. Tag. Because tag was easier, right? Because I'm
already standing up, yeah?
Yeah, you already. Did you guys play tag?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure that this is not a weird American
thing. We call it TIG, but...
Okay, TIGs. Okay, no problem. Yes, exactly. So you're already standing up during tag, right? And then you can be strategic about it. Because I'm not fast, doesn't mean I'm dumb. I stayed as close to base as possible. So when they would say, okay, the person who's the seeker, they stand on base, and then everybody's got to run and hide. My smart ass would stay wherever I could hide that was closest to base. Because as soon as the seeker leaves, I'm running to base, and I'm staying there for the rest of the game.
And you win.
And I win. I usually didn't get tagged because I wasn't dumb. Unless they found me first. That's the only time I would get tagged.
Yeah.
But if I could really strategically figure out how I could stay closest, I was fine. That's what you do when you're not fast.
Smart.
Yeah, you gotta work around it. Exactly. Okay, and back to the leader. I'm sorry. See, I love it. I love our tangents. To the leader. The leader is also getting strippers. Strippers! Woo!
Right. So this has always baffled me. If everybody was on holiday, did the strippers get paid? Because they were technically working. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Too pedantic.
No, you're not, because it's actually a good question. Because if I'm a stripper, I better be getting paid for this.
I know. This isn't... I don't know. I suppose for some people it is a lot of fun, but...
But I'm sure also they were hiring sex workers for the orgy. I mean, I'm sure... Because any sex worker, I want to be paid. I'm still at work. Oh, pay me. They better pay him. And they had all this food. Cash app. Not Roman Cash App. No.
Sorry.
Not my girl pulling out her tablet. Literally a stone tablet and calculating how much he owes her. And she's, girl, that's 14 gold coins you owe me for this week. Maybe they per hour. Maybe they just sent the bill at the end. Maybe they were like during. At the end we'll send the bill.
You're probably right.
Yeah, we'll send it through a carrier pigeon or whatever they did back then. Oh, the other job of the master of Saturnalia was to insult and basically like roast the guests. To make fun of them. They usually dress like a joker. And just to make sure everybody was having a good time, because they were like, this is great.
Dance.
Yes. Dance. Usually it's...
Sorry, that was a very British thing. I just realised.
No, that's fine.
If you're having banter.
No, I got it. Trust me. And please insert your British humor anywhere that you feel necessary. Everybody is good with it. This usually started between, like I said, it was around Yule. So between December 17th and December 23rd is when it started, or when the whole celebration was. Now, remember Constantine? Remember the Council of Nicaea? I feel like we've mentioned this many times on this podcast. That's when they made the Bible and everything. And Constantine was the one who was like, everybody, we're going to be Christian now because he had a dream. We're going to talk about Constantine one day. He had a dream. He was going into battle, and his mom talked to God and Jesus about it. And he's, And so he did, but then he won the battle. And then after that, he's all right, everybody Christian because it worked. So, yeah. So Constantine was like, Constantine's thought process was, let's put Christmas, the birth of Jesus, around this time. Since everybody enjoys Saturnalia so much, Let's just put it down here. Yes. Because everybody, the agreement was, and I've read this a couple times, Jesus was probably born in the spring, not in the winter. Yeah. So, but Constantine's, let's just replace, they do this all the time with pagan holidays. Let's just replace this one with that one.
Oh, those guys are doing that. It seems to be working for them. So we will do it. Exactly. We will make it our own.
Exactly. Okay? Let's just move it over.
Over time, guys, you're not going to believe this, but over time, they will think they're the mad ones. Right? Stick with me. Stick with me.
We're playing the long game here. Okay? This is the long game. Yeah, so that's what he did. So then there was a poet. Oh, no, I didn't put it in my... Oh, I did put it in my notes. Okay, anyway. There was a poet called Catullus, and he called it the best of days. He said, Saturnalia is my favorite time of year. I can't wait for Saturnalia every year. And because it was so popular... Constantine, again, tried to replace it with Christmas, but people didn't really care that much. They were like, we'll celebrate Christmas. So he replaced it with Christmas in 387 AD. It wasn't until the 800s, 9th century, that people were still celebrating it. 500 years later, they were like, this is so fun. We can't stop. They had to try to outlaw it a couple times. They kept outlawing it. And then people...
You outlaw something, all that happens is it goes underground and still happens.
Exactly, pretty much. So there was one guy, though. His name was Pliny. I think he's a Roman historian. And he hated it. And he made sure to write it down that he hated Saturnalia. Because he said, everyone's so damn loud. I can't get any work done. And I'm getting tired. He even built a soundproof room in his home. Because he was so tired.
I'd love to know how he did that in those days. Oh, wow.
I have no idea. I guess they figured out. Maybe he went underground and maybe he put like certain kinds of wood. I don't know. They probably figured something out. But this is the only person I had read in my research who really hated Saturnalia and made a point to write about it. He was like, Saturnalia everyone won't shut the hell up. I'm trying to get all my philosophy and history writings down, and you guys keep fucking talking. Jesus Christ. He couldn't stand it. So that's Saturnalia. Let's bring it back. This is what I'm thinking. Let's make a global movement, and we bring back Saturnalia because I love it.
I count me in.
We're doing it. Me and Sophie collectively are going to make this happen. Yeah. It only happens for 5 days a year, but we hold celebrations and we act a fool and we engage in a lot of shenanigans. So let's do it.
Sign up here. Sign up here first, guys. Get your name on the guest list. Do it.
You get a swag bag with the first 500 people.
Free t-shirt.
Who doesn't love a free t-shirt? Come on, you can do it. So now we're to our last section. We have story time. Yay, it's a story. So we are going to tell a folklore-ish, but actually this woman, I think she really lived, English folklore today.
Ooh.
Yay. We're going to talk about this lady, Mother Shipton. Have you ever heard of Mother Shipton?
No, sorry.
That's okay. I hadn't either. So this is great. We're both learning together.
Yay.
Okay. Yay. So this is the thing. So once upon a time in 1488, there was this 15-year-old orphan. Oh no. That must have been the fucking worst to be an orphan in 1588.
Yeah, 14. Thank you.
Yeah, 1488. Sorry, even worse. So her name was Angela Soothtail. And she gave birth to a baby in a cave in North Yorkshire. Now, so she gave the baby the name Ursula Southall. This is, the people who wrote about this lived like 200 years later. So we have some conflicting or interesting stories. We don't know how true all of it is. But this part about Angela is true because I think it was written in the record at the time. Now this is the part we don't know. But it says that Shipton, Ursula, was born during a violent storm, and she came out deformed and, quote, ugly, was born with a hunchback and bulging eyes. I don't know if she was a baby, so I don't know how her back could have been hunched as a baby. Yeah. I don't know. But sources also said that, again, this is folklore, guys. So don't be like, you're making fun of a baby. I'm not. This is what they said in the folklore. They said that Ursula cackled instead of cried after she was born. And yeah, so then they said when she started cackling, the storms stopped. Okay, people just tell tales. Anyway, so they did say, though, for real, when she got older, she did have like a hunchback and a hook nose and bulging eyes. Okay, I don't know how true it is. Anyway, so poor Angela, she had a baby, and Angela's poor, she was 15. Now, again, folklore, this is what they said. They said Angela was either, one, seduced by the devil and had an affair with the devil and called the devil Ursula, which is probably not true. And maybe, or she was a witch and she asked the devil to have a baby with her. Now, I thought about it. I was like, the sad truth of it was probably poor Angela was taken advantage of or assaulted, and that's probably the sad truth of what had happened. She was 15.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Saying that, though, back then, 15 was middle-aged.
You know what? To be honest, I didn't think of that, and you're right. It could have been that she was, like, with somebody or married and her husband died or a couple different things. But she was an orphan. So who knows what could have happened here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe she was looking for help and somebody took advantage of her. So there was a cave where she lived, and apparently the cave... A lot of these things didn't work in her favor because near the cave was a pool that was shaped like a skull. So it made it even more creepy. Yes, like she was near a pool that's shaped
right. If somebody wants to come to my house and carve me a pool in the shape of a skull, I'm game. Okay, just hit me up. I'm all about that, especially in this weather. Like, I'm ready.
It also didn't help that the pool, the skull pool, had certain minerals in it. So when you would throw something in the pool, if you went to go get it, find it, it turned it into stone. It was probably a lot of calcium or something in the pool. Again, even more creepy. They're like, Angela has Sorry, it's Agatha. I kept calling her Angela. It's Agatha. Agatha has enchanted the pool. Oh, okay, guys, calm down. It's probably just calcium water. So the other problem was Agatha would not tell anybody who the father was. Again, it was probably like a sad case, and she probably was like feeling ashamed of something that was not her fault and she shouldn't have been ashamed of. She wouldn't even tell the local magistrate who tried to get it out of her. She wouldn't tell them. So because of this, because it's 1488 and Agatha's a 15-year-old girl who has no baby and no dad for the baby, who has a baby and no father for the baby and no parents, she was an outcast, and that sucks. So she spent most of her time with Ursula in the pool. In the pool and in the cave. So then again, more folklore. This is what they said happened during Ursula's childhood. They said that when Ursula was 2, she was left alone with somebody who ended up being her foster mom to run errands. So the mom returned, and when she returned to the home, the house was wide open. The door was wide open, and she went in the door being nervous because she's like, somebody in my house. Apparently there was wailing. And Ursula was perched up in the corner somewhere, cackling. Now, we don't know if that really happened. Again,
did they seek an exorcism at any stage?
No, maybe they should have. No. I don't know why they didn't, because obviously they keep saying she's so bad. Then fix it. I'm
not being funny, but if I came home and my little boy was in the top corner, I'd have a problem with that. I would question that.
Yeah, I would be like, this is weird. I'm going to go seek spiritual counsel.
Get down. No.
Like, do not put yourself in a corner floating in the sky. That's weird. And then, okay, so another source says, this again is a source from 200 years later, that Ursula, she was walking past a group of people when she was running errands. She was a little older at this point, running errands for her mom. And they were mocking her, calling her names and making fun of her face. You're ugly, blah, 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 blah. Bullies. So Ursula said apparently she kept walking, but then the people who were making fun of her, they were eating lunch and they stood up to make fun of her. And then when they sat down, apparently there was one guy who's there, all of a sudden there was a toilet seat on top of his head and it clapped down over him. I don't know. Yeah. I was like, what? I know.
Did they have toilet seats in 1480?
I don't know what happened. This is just what I read. I was like, a toilet seat clapped down around. Maybe it was like a chamber pot was on his head and it hit him in the head. There was another person who was apparently wearing a hat. Oh, sorry, this is different. This is a chamber pot one. There was a man who was wearing a hat, and all of a sudden his hat became a chamber pot. And then other people were laughing loudly, and they came around. They were tripping all over each other. They found a large pair of horns in front of a door when the people outside of this building came to go see what was going on because they were screaming. It's a lot of weird stuff that they said that Ursula did. And they were saying that this was a sign, don't make fun of Ursula. Like, she doesn't have time for your shit.
Sounds to me like she was just a girl that was divinely protected.
Exactly. Yes, by all sorts of stuff. So then she went from living in the cave to living in the woods. So she was living in the woods, and she became really good with the knowledge of herbs, and she was known all around. So people were making fun of her, but then they actually started to rely on her. She knew what all the herbs in the forest were for. She knew how to fix your problems. She met a carpenter named Toby Shipton, and she married him, and that's how she became then Mother Shipton or Ursula Shipton. And apparently the townspeople thought that she had actually bewitched him because they're like, oh, you're so ugly. Why would he marry her? Maybe he just liked her. Maybe she was nice.
Maybe we're not all as shallow as you guys.
Exactly. Maybe he was just like, she's nice to me and I like her and she's very sweet and I've fallen in love. That's fine.
And she's smart.
And she knows how to heal all my problems. Why wouldn't I want to marry this woman?
Sounds like wife material.
Oh, are you kidding me? So then he unfortunately ended up dying early in 1514, and they thought she killed him, probably because everyone was mean to her, and they're like, oh, you must have killed him. She was probably grieving, guys. Assholes.
How about that?
Yeah,
how about that?
How about that? How about she was just sad that her husband died and you're all being assholes? Okay. So then the grief of her losing her husband prompted her to move even farther in the woods by herself because everyone was being so mean to her.
If I had her life, I would be so far in the woods.
Yeah, she was literally the witch in the woods.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah,
Fuck
stop
off.
being so nasty to me. And then she also, though, would also sometimes go, and she lived in the same cave that she was born in. She would go into that cave for peace, so people leave her the fuck alone. And she continued to create potions and herbal remedies for people. So she started being known as Mother Shipton because it became that people started respecting her a little bit more. And also people would travel from far distances to come see her to receive potions and different spells. There's even a letter from King Henry the Sixth, I believe, no, the Eighth, I think, in 1537, where he talks about the Witch of York. And everyone's, he's probably talking about her. And she also started to have a lot of different prophecies. One of the prophecies was like, it was about her saying there's going to be horses that move, but they don't breathe. It was something like that. But basically, she was saying she predicted cars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was a couple other things that she predicted, even in her own town. I think it was like, she predicted that like one of the bridges was going to flood, and then it did. And everyone's, oh my God, the bridge flood. And I'm like, yeah, the bridge probably was going to flood at some point. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, she had a couple interesting predictions. There's a moth named after her. And there's also many pubs that were named after her, but I think there's only one that still exists in Yorkshire. Because, yeah.
I am desperate to go to York. I've been, it sounds really strange, but I've been called there quite a lot. But I've never actually been. And I really wanted to go for my birthday this year, but then just never got around to it. So it is on my bucket list because apparently it's like a really witchy kind of place to go. And I really want to go there. Really want to go.
Yes, it's very nice, very beautiful. I've seen pictures. I don't think I've ever been there. Maybe I have. I don't remember. English geography is very confusing for me. I don't know where I've been. maybe that, I don't know. I know Downton Abbey's in Yorkshire because I love Downton Abbey.
Watched it. Oh, I should watch it.
The thing about Downton Abbey is my mom, when it was originally on, my mom would watch it. Because my mom loves all that upstairs, downstairs kind of thing. She loves that. And I was like, one day she was watching it. It was when I still live with my mom. I was like, this looks so boring. What are you watching? And she's, oh, it's Downton Abbey. She's like, just watch it, like one episode. And I was instantly obsessed. I was like, this isn't boring. This is the best show ever. I love Downton Abbey. Oh my God. It's so good.
Yeah, I've got to watch it. But
it's really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I love it. Okay. Yeah, so that's everything you need to know about Mother Shipton. She's interesting. There is, I think, somewhere in York, I believe, there is a bench with a model of her on it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll put it in the blog if I ever get this blog started. I'll put pictures of it there so everyone can see it. But yeah, she's on there, and she just was a woman who didn't want to be bothered, and everyone was being mean to her. But then she ended up helping all these people. Oh, and there was one story. I didn't write it down, did I? No, I didn't. But there was a story about how there's a woman who somebody stole her stuff, like her clothes. So she went to Mother Shipton and was like, can you help me figure out who stole my clothes? And Mother Shipton's go home, and in the morning, the person who stole your clothes is going to bring it back. Apparently, yes, in the morning, the person who stole this girl's clothes came, and she's like, I don't know what you're doing to me, but I'm tortured, and you need to take your clothes back. I'm sorry. So she's great. It worked. Yeah. Whatever she did. So that's our tale of the week, our story, and that brings us to the end of our show here. Oh no, the end. Sophie, this has been
amazing. Fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
This has been so much fun. Yeah, and I'll at some point we need to schedule for you to come and do a spot on mine as well. That would be great.
Yes, we'll do that. It'll be fun. It'll be great.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So Sophie, can you just tell people where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, of course. So I am Ramblings of a Grey Witch, and it's Grey with an E. I'm on all the podcast directories, so Spotify and Apple Podcasts are my most used ones, but anywhere you can stream music or find a podcast, search Ramblings of a Grey Witch and you will find me. I'm also on Instagram as Ramblings of a Grey Witch Podcast. I do have a Facebook group, but guys, it's not working for me. But if you search Ramblings of a Grey Witch Podcast on Facebook, there is a group there as well, but I am more active on Instagram. So yeah, just thank you so much for having me. If you guys want to come and listen to what I do, you are more than welcome. Ashley and I share a very similar vibe, I think.
Yeah, we definitely do. I've been listening to your podcast and I really enjoy it. And
thank you.
Yeah, of course. And as always, all of Sophie's information will be in the show notes. Just one click and you can find her podcast and you can find her Insta and all that good stuff.
Perfect. Thank you. I have got to say, though, I am nowhere near as organised as you. Mine is just chaos chit-chat. I try and keep a structure, but it just doesn't happen. So, just be warned.
It's totally, sometimes I like a podcast that has no structure sometimes. Sometimes you just want to be like, I just want to listen to this informative thing. I really enjoy your podcast. It's very good.
Thank you.
Of course. Yes.
I knew after listening to a few episodes of yours that we would just hit it off right away.
Yeah. I was like, she's cool. I listened to yours for 10 minutes. I was like, I like her. I was like,
we're there. Yeah.
We're cool. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes. Like I said, Sophie's information will be in the show notes, everybody. And I just want to thank all of you too. Thank you guys for being here again. This is Dine with the Divine. Again, you can find us on Instagram, on Facebook. If you really enjoy the show, please give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to your podcast. Again, any suggestions, any questions, any comments, we have dinewiththedivinepod@gmail.com. Email me anytime. And if you want to follow me, Ashley, I'm at SankofahHS. That's SankofahS. And Sankofa Healing Sanctuary on Facebook. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys next Thursday. Okay, bye.